welcome back to Kitchen Talk at Dream Kitchens and Renovations. I'm Krista Pippi.
And I'm Christine Brown. Welcome back, everybody. And today we have a very special guest, Jamie Chafe from Jamie Chafe Design. So we're going to be talking with him today about what's trending and introduce him to the business here in St. John's.
How you doing, Jamie?
Good.
Good.
Welcome
nice
aboard.
To be here. Thank you.
Thanks for
Good to
coming
have
by
you.
today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
So Jamie, you and I have worked very close together over the last 4.5, 5 years on some amazing projects. And what I've noticed and I love most about you is your flair and your enthusiasm and your excitement when you work with clients. So I need to ask you, what prompted you to become an interior designer and get into interior design?
I'll give you a check later for saying all those nice things about me. Well, you know, my first interest when I got out of high school was to pursue work in the culinary industry.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, my health wouldn't allow that. So I then had to re-examine like what my interests were growing up, and like really looking back through my whole childhood and like all coming up, interior design or interior decorating was the best fit for me.
Okay, nice.
So that's why I decided that I would go back to school and get some kind of education in that field.
Nice. So where did you go to school to study interior design?
Sheffield Interior Design School, based out of New York City.
Wow,
Wow.
impressive.
Yeah,
Did you live in New York?
I did for a period, not very long,
Okay.
but because it was mostly correspondence. Unfortunately, that school's closed now, so it's actually now called the New York Institute of Art and Design.
Okay.
So Sheffield is no longer, but New York Institute of Art and Design is where I now say, because it's the same
Right.
thing. Like my certification now says New York Institute of Art and Design. So they just basically bought out
Right.
the school, and now like there's photography offered there. There's a whole bunch of different art programs that you can take.
Okay.
Nice. Still impressive.
So, yeah.
So how many years have you been doing this now?
2011 is when I graduated, so
Almost 9 years.
yeah, 9 years.
Wow,
yeah.
impressive. Yeah.
9 years.
Impressive. So
Yeah.
Krista, did you need to ask?
So where do you find your inspiration when you're, well, seeing that this is Kitchen Talk, where do you find your inspiration when you're helping somebody design their kitchen?
That's a really good question. I like to be known as a designer who doesn't go into a client's house and do what I would like in their home.
Right.
I really pride myself on the consultation process.
Okay.
And that's something that was big when I studied,
Right.
is how to determine and differentiate the different needs and tastes of the client.
Okay.
Because Krista, it would be no good for me to go in your house and give you a kitchen that I'm going to love.
Right.
It would have to be something that you're going to like.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I really like to feel out the client, get an idea of what their tastes are. Actually, usually, I think you guys have shared it on your design page. I usually show them the different styles of
Right.
kitchens, what a
Okay.
modern kitchen looks like, what
Yes.
a traditional kitchen looks like,
Right.
Okay.
what a contemporary kitchen looks like.
Mhm.
That really helps me navigate like where they want to go.
Right.
And then within that, whatever style, I like to tailor it to what they like.
Right.
And then, of course, there's elements to the space of the client that are going to impact what decisions are made.
Right.
For example, lighting, flooring, the
Right.
size of the space.
Okay.
So there's different things like that
Right.
that I, use to get inspired.
Right. And how do you decide if a client is a good fit for you, or do you just take on any client?
That's a really good question. Well, actually, come to think of it, I've never turned down a client.
Yeah.
I love a good challenge, and I have had very challenging clients over the years. Not necessarily personality-wise, but just like their tastes have not often been black and white, or it's taken longer to figure out what's going to work for them
Right.
Right.
and their families.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that a client you're going to have. I mean, I have had clients that are perfect clients.
Right.
They're dream clients, right? Dream kitchens, dream clients. But there's been challenging ones
Right.
over the years.
So is that what you feel separates you from the rest of the interior designers out there? Because oftentimes you and I both see, like
Yeah.
you have interior designers out there who, when you see one kitchen, you've
You've
seen them all,
You've seen them all, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you look at it and you go,
No,
okay, so how does this differentiate from
I
another
definitely,
client?
I definitely
Right.
agree with you there. A lot of that too has to do with the background of the person. Like
Right.
if you're not
Mhm.
educated in the field properly, then you're not gonna be able to know how to tailor and do different projects. What makes me different, I feel, is I'm just so passionate about this industry.
And you are very passionate. I've
I
seen
love revisiting a client after like 2-3 years after we've worked together
that. Yeah,
and see how transforming their space has transformed their lives.
right. Mhm.
Because people, I think, don't realize the impact that their interior has on them.
Right.
And that was a big part of my training, is the psychology of design. How like the spaces in which we live affect us emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So I think the impact for me is, and why I love doing this, is because I get to see that throughout my work. I get to see how spaces that I've created with clients has truly transformed their lives.
Right.
Not just the spaces that they get to call home.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
So-
great.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Great way to put it, hey?
I know,
And
right?
I feel the same way when we're doing kitchens. Like, people are walking in their kitchen every morning, getting their coffee.
That's
And
right.
you want
Yeah.
them to feel like it's there and it's home. And,
Right.
You know, you don't want to feel like you're walking into a showroom.
No,
That's a
that's
really
right.
good point, Krista, because your kitchen is the heart of your
It
house.
is.
It is. Yeah.
It's where meals are prepped,
Yeah.
it's where you entertain, it's where
All
the
your
family
friends
comes
gather.
together.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask any of your clients to come in here, they would most likely say that the kitchen is the hub of the house.
Yeah.
It's where at least one time during the day, everybody comes together
That's right.
to either like share a meal or
Yes.
talk about their day or do homework at the kitchen table
Or to be bitching in the kitchen.
or to be
Bitchin' in the
bitching
kitchen. Not here at Dream
No.
Kitchen.
You know,
Yeah.
so your kitchen is the heart of the house.
It is,
So you got to get it right.
That's right. So Jamie, tell us a little about yourself, where you're located and what areas you're now currently serving.
Yeah, so I'm currently living in Bay Roberts,
Okay.
but I serve anywhere in the city
Mhm.
to outside the city, as far as Clarenville.
Nice.
Is
So
where
you've
I'm-
got a widespread.
Yeah, I'll go where the need is. I mean, I'm saying just to Clarenville, if there's somebody past Clarenville that needs my help, like
You
would
did have
most
somebody from
likely-
Gander area one
I've
time,
had
didn't
several
you? Yes.
clients in Gander.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in today's like industry and our economy and stuff, I feel like basically renovating a kitchen or getting an interior decorator is more of a splurge thing
Right.
rather than a necessity.
Mhm.
So what's the best way to prioritize your budget when you're working with an interior designer?
Well, for me, like when I'm prioritizing a budget, it all has to tailor to the needs of the client.
Right. So,
So-
will you go in and just give them a quote or just say, this is how much I am per hour? Or like, for me to help you with your kitchen is X amount? Or how does that work?
That's a good
That's a
question.
really good question. You know, each client is different, and based on my training, like I am taught different ways that I can charge clients.
Right.
So some people like to be charged by the hour. Some people like to be charged.
By the project.
This is how much it's going to cost to do
Right.
it all.
Right.
And I will say most people do go for that number because then they can budget that.
Right.
You just mentioned something really, really key in that like
Right.
Newfoundland is suffering right now.
Yes.
And a lot of
yeah.
people don't have the money to be splurging on fixing up their houses and let alone hiring an interior designer to make sure they get it right. So, you know, people like to have that number
Right.
so that they can start off so they know, okay, hey, I have this amount that I owe him to get this look.
Right.
Whereas if you do hourly, no one really knows
That's right.
what the end amount is going to be.
Right.
That's exactly
So then my struggle then, in order to give them a proper quote, is to really examine, okay, like how many hours am I going to devote to this?
Right.
Because I also have to make a living and I don't want to short myself
Right.
in the process, right? At the same time, my passion at the end of the day is helping people.
Exactly.
So I'm not in this to, you know, get rich quick. I'm in this because I truly am passionate about what I do for a living.
Excellent.
Yeah, and he is. His work speaks for itself. Yeah.
And I think when you are passionate about doing something, your work does speak for it. I mean,
does.
I love my job and
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, it really shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been told that like throughout my career, like it's only been 9 years. I know it sounds like a long time, but it really isn't. But all my clients have come back and said like it's because of my personality and how much I put myself into the project is what they come back and say like was their overall thing that they were most happy with.
It goes back to what I said earlier, your enthusiasm and your excitement for what you're doing.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah. Again, because I've seen the transformative qualities that doing your home and taking an interest in your space has on your life.
Right.
So that's what's most rewarding for me.
Right.
You know, like when I reveal a space to a client and I get to see their face, you know, like you see it on home makeover shows.
Yes,
what they
right.
don't show or talk about is how that impacts the designer.
Absolutely.
Because there's no greater feeling in giving somebody a space and then walking away from it knowing that like you put your all into it and now they get to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what's trending in the industry right now?
Really good question, Christine.
Is everything still gray?
Really good questions. So I want to start off this part in saying that I really don't like to use the word trend when we're talking about kitchens.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. Kitchens are probably, actually, it is the most expensive part in your house that you're going to invest in. And it's also where you're going to get your return if you ever decide to sell.
Right.
Your kitchen and your bathrooms are your main money-making places.
It is.
So, when you talk about trends, I mean, Benjamin Moore does color of the year, other places does color of the year. You don't see stuff like that in kitchens, and the reason being is because kitchens are such a huge investment.
Right.
So things aren't constantly changing in kitchens all the time. I will say that like what I'm seeing a lot trending now is like multiple tone kitchens. So you're having like white with natural woods with like colors mixed in.
Yes.
Right.
We're seeing that a lot in the design world. And you know, just clean lines are really common right now. I find still people are moving away from that like traditional dark wood looks.
Right.
The red tones aren't really in very much.
What about like that pottery color? I'm kidding.
I'll hold my comments for that one. But you know, and white kitchens are still, you know,
It's so
because
easy.
people
Like
love.
with a white kitchen, you can add a bit of color.
Right.
Or
You can.
change your countertop
You
or
can.
change your backsplash and make it look totally
Yeah,
different.
and Krista, white is the most timeless look.
Yeah.
If you look at a kitchen back in the 80s that was done in white and you look at it now, I mean, you can do some really light tweaks and it would still be trendy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It would still look modern because
Right.
it's, you know, white is timeless, it's classic.
Yeah, it would definitely stand the test of time.
It would definitely stand the test of time, yeah. So, yeah, I would say that's what's, now I will say like in vanities and like things for the bathroom, I'm noticing a lot of like emerald tones
Okay.
are coming very
nice.
popular. If you go on like the design websites and stuff, you'll see like a lot of like muted undertones in the backdrop, but then you'll have like a pop of color with like the vanity,
Right.
which I think looks absolutely
Very
stunning.
nice.
Yeah,
I think it
Absolutely.
looks real because it just grabs your interest
Yeah.
and it really like it makes a statement.
Right.
And then if you play it up with like some gold and stuff like that, it just looks
See,
really
he's
sharp.
getting excited just talking about this stuff,
Looks
right?
really sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jamie, is there anything else that you want to add before we kind of close this off today?
No, I'll just say that if anybody has any questions, like you can feel free to message me on my Facebook page, Jamie Chafe Design, or send me a text. My phone number's online as well, or send me an email. Anything that I can do to help anybody out there.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you on board and welcome to the St. John's area
Thank you,
because I
thank
know
you.
you originated from the Clarenville area.
I did, yeah.
And that's where you and I have done a lot of our work out there. So it's nice to have you here in the city. So anybody who's looking for a designer, Jamie's your guy. So Jamie Chafe Design.
Any other questions?
No, that's
No?
everything. Thanks for
Awesome.
coming.
And I'd like to thank you guys so much for having me
Yes,
today.
absolutely.
And hopefully we'll do this again soon.
I hope so, yes.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
My clicker.